Buenas and Hafa good morning, everyone, and happy International Women's Day and Women's History Month. Today, we celebrate the achievements and contributions of the hardworking women of our island. We recognize our Famalawan who have made it their life's work to build better and stronger communities for all. First, I'd like to thank my colleagues for joining me this morning. Speaker of the 36th Guam Legislature, Therese M. Terlahi, Vice Speaker Tina Rose Muñoz Barnes, Senator Sabina Perez, Senator Mary Camacho Torres, Senator Tello Taitagui, Senator Joanne Brown, Senator Tony Atta, Siduous Malsi colleagues. We are also joined here today by women leaders from many organizations throughout our island community who continue to strive to prioritize assertion of women in our society. I'd like to recognize representatives from the Guam Council of Women's Clubs, Guam Women's Club, International Women's Club of Guam, Bureau of Women's Affairs, Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, American Association of University Women Guam Chapter, National Association of Women in Construction, Seroptimus International of Guam, Seroptimus International of the Marianas, Regalu Foundation, the Guam Memorial Hospital Volunteers Association, Filipino Ladies Association of Guam, Palau Women's Club of Guam, Chinese Ladies Association of Guam, Korean Women's Association of Guam, Japan Club of Guam, Indian Women's Club of Guam, Guam Laddystone Lions Club, Island Girl Power, Guam Girl Scouts, the National Association of Social Workers Guam Chapter, the First Hawaiian Bank, and Guam Business Magazine Businesswoman of the Year program. They are women supporting women, and they improve the conditions of Guam's diversity, welfare, health, and education. We are better because women continue to rise and take on roles that advance our society. I'd also like to take the opportunity to congratulate many of our women-led organizations on their founding anniversaries. The 10th anniversary of Regalu Foundation, the 35th year anniversary of Seroptimus International of the Marianas, the 50th golden year anniversary of the Guam Memorial Hospital Volunteers Association gift shop, and the 60th diamond year anniversary of the Filipino Ladies Association of Guam. Congratulations to all our organizations, and thank you for your continued service to our island and people. We have come such a long way, and it's incredible to think that our island is the first to elect a supermajority of women in any state or territorial legislature. And of course, the island also elected its first woman governor. It was the first time the three branches of our local government were headed by women. It's a big first in history, and I'm certain it won't be the last. We're also seeing women lead in our communities, in business, in education, in the revitalization of the arts, all contributing to the betterment of our people and our island. Indeed, there is definitely more work to do for victims of sexual assault and broken families, for working mothers in need of childcare, for our elders longing in solace. We must advocate for representation of women in every aspect of our society. We must take a stand for each other and choose to challenge any form of bias, hate, and discrimination. We choose to challenge because our culture places the value of respect and Inafa Malik above all else. We choose to challenge because our heritage encourages us to honor those who have come before us. And we choose to challenge because our history has shown that women can and should lead. On this day, International Women's Day, we take another step in challenging the underrepresentation of women. Today, with the support of the Women's Caucus in the Legislature, I will introduce a bill that seeks to adopt a procurement policy in support of women-owned businesses. Women-owned businesses have been at a distinct disadvantage in Guam's economy. A review of data from the 2017 Economic Census of Guam conducted by the U.S. Census Bureau confirms the percentage of women-owned businesses on the island are only about 17%. Current research has shown that the pandemic has taken a higher toll on women-owned businesses, with women owners reporting that they are also less likely to expect future success in the coming years compared to male owners with regard to revenue, investment, and staffing. I'd like to express my gratitude to my colleagues for co-sponsoring this measure in support of women. As I look out here today, I see women who have chosen compassion and service. And during these difficult times, you are all beacons of hope for so many others, for our young girls, for our families in need, and for our entire community. Together, we can lead the road to recovery with the same compassion and heartfelt service for others because we have done it before. I'm sure that all of you in the Zoom room need not be reminded about this, but to our young girls watching at home, being a woman is not a disadvantage. It's what makes you great, and it's truly what makes our island home special. Without further ado, joined by the women majority and some of the gentlemen here in the room, my colleagues of the 36th Guam Legislature, we are honored to present Resolution number 31-36 COR, introduced by myself, Amanda L. Shelton, and all members of the 36th Guam Legislature, relative to recognizing the observance of Women's History Month during the month of March 2021 as a time to celebrate the achievements and vision of women whose work paved the way toward a world free of inequality and violence, and commending the great women of Guam whose historical contributions and achievements continue to pave the way toward progress and success for all. Be it resolved by the Committee on Rules of Iminay 36 na Legislature ng Guahan.
Whereas on Guam, Chamorro society is traditionally matrilineal, whereby land and resources were passed through maternal lines of inheritance. And whereas women on Guam lead in all facets of society and in all the major professions and businesses, and they are politically engaged and active in the church and community.
Whereas these extraordinary women of Guam are tied to Chamorro values and encourage future generations to fight for progress on Guam and around the world on issues such as gender equality, climate change, affordable health care, and better educational and employment opportunities. And whereas on March 9th, 1980, United States President Jimmy Carter issued a presidential proclamation declaring the week of March 8th as the first National Women's History Week, honoring and recognizing the contributions of women throughout American history.
Whereas in 1987, the U.S. Congress then designated the month of March to be observed as Women's History Month. And since 1988, U.S. presidents have issued annual proclamations designating the month of March as Women's History Month. And whereas in 2019, Guam made history in having the most women serving in all three branches of the government of Guam, with voters electing the island's first female governor of Guam, a majority of women members serving in the Guam legislature, and a female Chief Justice of Guam, as well as a female Chief Judge of the U.S. District Court of Guam.
Whereas on January 20, 2021, Senator Kamala D. Harris made history as the first woman, African-American and South Asian American, to serve as Vice President of the United States, a significant milestone for women in our country. And whereas on January 26, 2021, Dr. Janet Yellen, a renowned economist who spent her career focused on unemployment and the dignity of work, was sworn as the 78th Secretary of the U.S. Treasury, becoming the first woman in the 232-year history of the U.S. Department of Treasury to hold that position.
Whereas during Women's History Month, Guam celebrates the remarkable women locally, nationally, and globally who have overcome barriers and paved the way for women to not only participate in our government, but also to lead and shape the lives of others and communities in positive ways. And the Legislature ng Guahan has adopted numerous resolutions recognizing Women's History Month and International Women's Day, and the equal rights and inherent human dignity of women are enshrined in the chapter of the United Nations. And whereas March 8th is recognized throughout the world as International Women's Day, a day for all people to celebrate the gifts of diversity while embracing the values of equality, and for women worldwide to continue contributing to social, economic, cultural, and political achievements. And it is a time to reflect on the progress made, to call for change, and to celebrate the acts of courage and determination by women who have played an extraordinary role in the history of their countries and communities.
Whereas the 2021 Women's History Month theme, selected and published by the National Women's History Alliance, is Valiant Women of the Vote, Refusing to Be Silent, which is an extension of the 2020 theme, since many of the women's suffrage centennial celebration originally scheduled for 2022 were curtailed, and continues to celebrate the women who fought for women's rights to vote in the United States. And in honor and recognition of the centennial observance of the passage and adoption of the 19th Amendment, and the women who fought and continue to fight to ensure voting rights for all. And whereas women's work is constantly being redefined, and today women have the power to change the destiny of our family, a neighborhood, a village, our island, this nation, and our world.
Whereas women's rights are human rights, a fundamental knowledge that should be recognized by all, despite the advancement of women on Guam and in the United States, much remains to be done to ensure that women realize their full potential as equal members of society. And whereas our island is honored and blessed to have such inspiring women who tirelessly devote themselves to the overall advancement of our community through programs that empower girls and young women to value themselves and to strive to be the best in their pursuits and fight through solidarity to erase mistreatment, exploitation, and trafficking of women around the world.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Committee on Rules of Iminai Chantaisai Snilla Heslaturan Guahan does hereby, on behalf of Vila Heslaturan Guahan and the people of Guam, recognize the observance of Women's History Month during the month of March 2021 as a time to celebrate the achievements and vision of women whose work paved the way toward a world free of inequality and violence, and commend the great women of Guam whose historical contributions and achievements continue to pave the way toward progress and success for all. And be it further resolved that the Speaker and the Chairperson of the Committee on Rules certify and the Legislative Secretary attest to the adoption hereof, and that copies of the same be thereafter transmitted to the many women's organizations on Guam and to the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero y Mega Hagen Guahan, duly and regularly adopted by the Committee on Rules of Iminai Chantaisai Snilla Heslaturan Guahan on the 8th day of March 2021. And now at this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Donna Kloppenberg, the president of the Guam Council of Women's Club, if she'd like to say a few words in celebration of International Women's Day.
Well, thank you, Senator. To all of the senators that are here today and to all the members of the different women's organizations, I would just like to say that it's an honor to be here on Women's History Day. And that I'm so happy that we have this Zoom available for all of us to be together. And I take this opportunity to say that I hope we all continue in our hard work, because we are all making a difference in our community, and we will continue to do so. And thank you, Senator Amanda, for doing this for all of us.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kloppenberg. And now I'd like to ask if our speaker, Speaker Therese Terlahi, if you'd like to share a few words with us.
Well, thank you. Just wanted to say how proud I am to be part of this amazing group of women on Guam, to follow and try to stand on the shoulders of those who came before us and to do good for Guam and try to bring all girls and women up to their full potential And I'm just very proud to be part of that. And thank you to all of you for all your work. You have really made an impact on our island. Si Diyos masi. Viva.
Viva. Thank you very much, Speaker. And lastly, for our closing remarks, I'd like to invite Vice Speaker Tina Munoz-Barnes.
Si Diyos masi, Legislative Secretary Shelton, Manana si Diyos, and si Diyos masi to everyone joining us today and watching at home. I want to say for many years, women fought to be heard and to be treated as equals as their male colleagues. And the United Nations Women wrote, the world needs women at every table where discussions are made. I am reminded every day of the countless women legislators who worked tirelessly at the Guam Legislature to create policies to better the lives of women and men on our island. From equal representation of genders at government boards and commissions to simply having a safe place for mothers to breastfeed at government offices, we definitely have come a long way. But our work to create a just society never ends. I encourage our women of today to reflect and draw inspiration of past women leaders. I am especially encouraged by our youth who commit to service and volunteer their time to intern at government offices. And I want to share some examples like Chelsea Liu, Sojang An, Annalena Ko, and Isla Rodriguez, who have been accepted to prestigious colleges to learn and to lead our future. I want to extend to all of you women here today, all of our women, undonklu na si Diyos masi, to all the women out there continuing to make a change and a difference for our island. Viva Pamalawan.
Viva.
Viva Guam.
Viva.
Have a safe and happy International Women's Day and Women's History Month, which should be every day. God bless you. Sanbini GC Hamza Todos.
Si Diyos masi, Vice Speaker, and to all of our women's organizations who joined us today, all of our women leaders, thank you very much. Happy International Women's Day. Happy Women's History Month. We wish you all well this month and throughout the whole year. And we look forward to seeing you again in person very soon. Viva Famalawan.
Viva.
Viva. Adios, everyone.
Adios.